Bitcoin keys. Those cryptic strings of characters that unlock your digital fortune. Right. But what if, and stay with me here, what if there was a way to represent those keys with something as simple as a photo?
It's a wild thought, isn't it? Instead of that jumbled mess of letters and numbers, you're looking at a picture, maybe your cat, a sunset, or even a doodle. And that image is the key to your Bitcoin.
That's right. Turning pictures into keys to the crypto kingdom is what we're diving into today.
Absolutely.
And to guide us, we're turning to Corey Phillips, a real trailblazer in this space. His article, and it's aptly titled, "Turn Your Photos into Bitcoin Private Keys Addresses," lays out this whole process.
Step by step.
It's just part one of a series, though, so we're only scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Corey uses this really interesting example in his article. It's a tweet from Andreas Antonopoulos back in May 2015.
Ah, yes. The infamous kitten photo, right? It's become a bit of a legend in the crypto sphere.
So what's so special about this kitten photo? Is it hiding some kind of secret message within the image itself?
Not quite. See, this isn't about steganography, hiding data within another file. Here, the image itself is the key.
Okay, now you're just messing with me. How can a photo be a Bitcoin key?
It's all thanks to this thing called Base 64. You know how you can translate a book into different languages?
Right.
Base 64 is like a universal language for digital files, so all computers can understand it. Every single file, photo, song, even this episode we're recording, has a unique Base 64 representation. It's like a digital fingerprint.
Interesting. So we've got our picture. We translate it into Base 64 code. Then what?
Well, that Base 64 code gets hashed, basically, run through this special algorithm that transforms it into a unique string of characters. Imagine putting your image through a digital paper shredder, but it reassembles it into a new, totally unique code.
Okay, I'm starting to follow.
And then this hash, it acts as the basis for generating a mnemonic phrase, those lists of words people use for their crypto wallet.
Oh, right, like those 12-word phrases you always hear about. So we've gone from a photo to Base 64 code to a hash to a mnemonic phrase and finally to a Bitcoin address.
Exactly.
Wow, that's quite a journey for one little photo to take.
It is.
But why go through all that trouble? What's the advantage of having a photo as your key?
Well, think about it. You can carry your Bitcoin wealth in a way that doesn't scream digital currency,
I see what you mean.
Imagine a flash drive full of family photos. No one would suspect those photos are actually keys to a digital fortune.
Right. It makes your digital wealth way less conspicuous, more a part of everyday life.
Exactly. And it's not just about Bitcoin either, This whole concept that any file can be a digital key, it could really change how we think about digital ownership and access in general.
That's really interesting. But what about security? What happens if someone finds your picture? Do they automatically own your Bitcoin?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? It's something to think about for sure. Technically, someone could try to brute force their way through a whole photo library, try to generate addresses from every image.
But wouldn't that take, forever? Even with all the computing power we have these days.
It would be a massive undertaking for sure, not to mention super expensive just to run the computers. But as technology gets even more powerful, it's not impossible to imagine someone with enough resources giving it a shot.
I guess you're right.
And that's exactly where passphrases come in. They add this whole other layer of security.
So adding a PIN code to your photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's like we've got our Bitcoin tucked away in an ordinary image, but it's locked up tight with a passphrase too. A digital treasure chest with a double lock.
Speaking of treasure chests, Corey actually hid some Bitcoin in that kitten photo we talked about.
Wait, seriously? He put real Bitcoin out there for someone to find.
He did. It's a thing in the crypto space, gets people interested, gets them playing around with new ideas.
Right.
He put a small amount, something like 0.000095133 BTC in the address that he got from that kitten picture. No passphrase needed for that one.
Wow. So it's just floating out there waiting for someone to grab it. Kind of reminds me of the early days of Bitcoin when people were giving it away just to spread the word.
Exactly. It's a great way to get people excited about this stuff. But it gets even better. He also hid a larger amount, 0.01 BTC, in another address he made from the same kitten picture.
Hold on, there's more. Now you've got me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. This other address, it's protected by a passphrase.
A passphrase, huh? So he didn't just come out and tell everyone what it is, did he?
Let's just say you'll have to do a bit of detective work. The clues are all there in his article, though. It's like a little challenge, fun way for people to really dig into the ideas he's talking about. And maybe even earn some Bitcoin along the way.
I love that. So not only do you have a chance to find some Bitcoin, but you'll actually understand how it all works in the process. Talk about a win-win. This has really got me thinking. If photos can be Bitcoin keys, what else could we use? Could I turn my favorite song into a digital wallet?
That's a great question. And it gets at the real potential here. What Corey's doing, it's not just a Bitcoin trick, it's changing how we think about representing value in the digital world.
So we've basically gone from these random strings of characters to something we can actually relate to, like an image.
Mm,
It almost makes Bitcoin feel more real, you know?
definitely. It connects those two worlds, the physical and the digital. I mean, we're so used to associating value with things we can touch. And this concept, it takes that instinct and brings it into the world of digital stuff.
It really does make you rethink this whole idea of owning something digital. Like, what does it even mean to own something in the digital world? It really is a big question.
Yeah.
But for today's deep dive, I think it highlights how important control is,
Yeah.
whether it's a string of characters or a simple JPEG. What matters is if you can access it, manage it.
Absolutely. And that's where those passphrases, they become even more important. Like you're putting a safe inside another safe.
It's true. Thinking about all the photos, all those files we keep, it's like they've got this hidden potential, like there's value waiting to be unlocked.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? What about historical documents or famous art, even those little personal things we hold on to? Imagine if any of that could be turned into something valuable in the digital world.
It's exciting, but also kind of scary, don't you think? What would that mean for security, privacy? If anyone can turn anything into a Bitcoin key, are we just asking for trouble?
It's the other side of the coin with all this, right?
Right.
Every step forward, you get new challenges. It's why strong security is so important. People need to know how to store these digital keys safely, how to send them without risk.
So it's not just about how cool the technology is. It's got to be used responsibly.
Exactly. No point having all these innovations if they end up causing more problems than they solve. We've got to explore these new things carefully, see the good and the bad.
Right, right. Okay, so we've established this is huge. Totally changes how we think about digital stuff. But let's get real for a second. Our listener out there is probably thinking, this is all fascinating, but how do I actually do it? How do I take a picture and make it a Bitcoin key?
Well, Corey gets into the details in his article. He gives you the code, even points you to the specific software libraries you'd need.
Software libraries. That might sound a bit daunting for someone who isn't exactly a coding whiz.
It can sound like that, yeah. But honestly, it's getting easier all the time to do this kind of thing. In fact, Corey made a whole demo website. You can just upload an image and see how it all works. No coding needed.
So you don't need to be a tech genius to try this out. I like it.
Not at all. The tools are getting better, easier for everyone to use, and that's important because it lets more people understand and actually use this technology, not just a select few.
Right. Making these tools available to everyone, that's what can really lead to big changes.
Couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power, right? The more we can share that knowledge, the better our digital future will be. For everyone.
It does feel like we're right on the edge of something brand new, doesn't it? A little scary maybe, but mostly really exciting.
It does.
So, to our listener out there ready to start exploring, we have a question for you. If you could turn any image into a Bitcoin key, what would it be? A photo of your family, a beautiful landscape, maybe just a doodle on a napkin that means something special to you.
The possibilities are endless.
That's the thing. It's all in your hands. And as we dive deeper into Corey's work in future deep dives, we'll keep uncovering the possibilities of this technology.
That's right.
So keep those creative sparks flying and never stop asking what if.
Mm.
In our ever-changing digital world, anything is possible.
It really is.